Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for tapping in. Please hit the like button. Also share. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Good morning, everybody. Peace and blessings. I hope all is well with you and your family. Thank you so much for tapping in and listening. We on part 27. We doing this thing. We getting through it. We breezing through it. You know, I'm trying to take my time. That way I don't miss important details. I obviously can't give every single detail. That's kind of difficult to do, but I'm gonna give as much as I could. So we on part 27. Let's get right into it. So we left off on the last part, trying to get this guy off the yard. We out there. We spoke to the Mexican representative, that speaks for them, and we trying to get them to get their people out the way. Because we don't want to be going at him and then they trying to protect him, thinking that he with them and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of told their representative, tell your people to get out the way, that way they don't get involved, and then we got to smash them too. You know what I mean? Because when this work call, if you get in the way, you gonna be part of the work call too. That's just that's just the way it goes. Obviously I'm not involved in that kind of life no more. I'm just giving you the story, which is gonna lead up to something bigger. So we tell, the guy's telling his people in Spanish, kind of, get away from him, move out the way. So I'm calling the dude Ghost. Now, mind you, we armed up right now. What do I mean by that? We got knives on us, and this is the norm in these environments, that you don't go up peacefully, you go up the other way. You know what I mean? And the other way, you do have what guys put hands on your, stuff like that, but we trying to, in our sick minds at this time, we trying to make a serious demonstration. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about making a demonstration for him, but it's about making a demonstration for the yard as a whole, the prison as a whole. Because we trying to plant our flag there, that look, this is what we on. You know what I mean? And although we small in numbers, if you jump out there, we gonna work you. You know what I'm saying? That's our that was our thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and along with other cars, you know what I mean, they do the same kind of thing, but we small. You know what I mean? We probably just, really, to be honest, we probably the smallest car. And the thing about California, let me say this real quick. The thing about California prisons, although is you do have cars in terms of states, cities and things like that, for the most part, in my experience in being in the federal prisons of California, it's more of a black thing. We all sit in the same areas, even though you have you're gonna have a crip table, a blood table, California, things like that. But and then we're gonna have out of town tables and things like that. But if the tables is filled, they don't mind you sitting right there with it. Then it's not like gonna say, man, it's a crip table, you gotta get. No, it's a brother. So salute to California. I gotta respect them for that. You know what I mean? You don't see that, at least, just keeping it all the way real. You don't see that where I'm from. It's not a black thing. It used to be like that now. Once upon a time, long time ago, but it's not like that no more. So, so the thing is, the Mexicans, they real strong out there. They outnumbering, the blacks at this time. The Bureau of Prisons is trying to balance that a little bit by rerouting guys that's supposed to go to another prison. They rerouting them to California to try to bring some balance. You know what I mean? So, so anyway, we got our knives, and I know you probably wondering how we got it out there. Well, we for the most part, we got what's called floaters. Floaters, or the reason why it's called floaters is because you can get past the metal detector. Now, there's a ton of metal detectors you got to walk through on a consistent basis when you floating throughout the jail. There's one in the unit, coming off the unit, all that, one in the child hall, one by reg, one just all over the place, you know. So you want to make a floater that can pass the metal detector, meaning it doesn't have any metal in it, plastic, plexi, you know, things like that can get past, you know what I mean? If you do have something that can't get past, you know, guys got their ways. I won't disclose that in the video. They have their ways of how they get it to the yard, meaning metal, and then they, you know, they hide it somewhere in the yard, you know. So you do have that out there too. And so we got ours out there. We have floaters, you know. I believe we had about 4 of them out there at the time, 3 or 4 if I remember correctly. So I'm telling the guy, Ghost, man, let me talk to you. And you know, he's backing up like, no, man, I'm going towards him, but he backing up. So, you know, before we got out there, I kind of set it up a perimeter. I wanted one bro over here. I want you right here. I want you at the door right here. And then me and Smurf, we gonna go at this dude. But y'all gonna be right here, because when he try to run, we want to be able to corner him off to catch him. Look, I want you to look at how sick my thinking was back then. Now, I'm telling the dudes, come here, you know what I mean? He backing up, so he start running. I whips out the knife. When I'm chasing, I don't know how the police ain't see this. You know, the tower was in there. I don't know how they didn't see this. Hey, maybe it was God on my side, because you know they gonna get with you if you doing that kind of stuff. So I'm chasing him down. Now mind you, this guy's fast. I'm pretty fast too, but he fast. He's slim and fast. So he running. So I'm telling the other bro to grab him, because he running right in his direction. Grab him. And I'm so thankful to God that he didn't grab him. He didn't grab him because he was scared. You know what I mean? He was nervous. He really wasn't built for this kind of stuff. So he didn't really want it to happen. So he let him run right past him. And the guy runs into what's called the recreation department. You know, they got ping pong tables in there. They got a music room. You know, just little tables you could play cards and chess and things like that. He runs in there. So I'm looking at the bro like, why you ain't grabbing, man? You know, I'm ready to blast him. You know, I'm being honest. I'm ready to blast him, because I'm mad. Like, why you ain't grab? Why you let him just run past? So he like, oh, I ain't even really see him. I'm listening to you, but I'm trying to hear what you. I'm like, damn, man. I don't want to go inside the rec department, because I know the police is in there. They got an office in there. So I tell him, I said, here, man. I give him all the nod. I said, go put it over there somewhere, stash it somewhere over there. So the lady comes out, you know, or if anybody that's been there, her name is Mama. They call her Mama, you know. She's like the mother of the recreation department. She treated her with a lot of respect, you know what I mean, and things like that. So she comes out, and she, you know, she kind of knows my name. She like, call me by my little alias. She like, Mel, come here. Come here. I'm like, what's going on? She like, come here, get against the wall. I said, what's going on? Everything good? She said, no, everything. Y'all out here trying to clean house, right? I said, nah, I'm out here. We about to run the track and all. She said, no, you ain't about to put your hands against the wall. All of y'all come over here. She pat us down. She said, where's the weapons at? I said, I don't got no weapons. What are you talking? Like, explain to me what you talking. She like, okay, when they call a move, you go back to your housing unit. Don't come back to rec. You're not allowed in rec for the rest of the night, for the rest of the day, for that matter. I was like, all right, cool. Call a move. And we you know, we leave, you know, we leave to the unit. I'm talking about, I'm so mad, you know. We walking back to the unit, and I'm telling the other bro, I'm telling Smurf and I'm like, man, let's just stab the bro, man, because he let him walk out. Let's just get him out of here. So he like, nah, we can't do that, man. We can't do that. But see, at the time, I'm so miserable, you know, because of the time that I got. You know, that I'm willing to hurt anybody to let out my frustration. You see what I'm saying? But thanks to God that he didn't grab him, because maybe had he grabbed him and I hit him up, I possibly could have killed him and then received a life sentence after that. I mean, think about it. This happens in the prison system. This has happened to men in the prison system where they have a few months to go home. I've even seen dudes had 3 weeks to go home and caught a murder in there and end up getting a life sentence. Obviously, I'm not thinking like that back then. I'm just, I'm just all gas, no brakes, so to speak. So, I'm thankful to God that he didn't grab him. Because had he grabbed him, is, oh man. When you got a lot of frustration and anger build up, there's no telling what you can do when you let it out. So we're going to stop right there on this part. I hope you got some information out of this. We're going to continue on the next part. Let me give you some more of my journey in this prison, because there's a crash coming in this prison right here that you need to know about. Then we're going to get to the next prison, and then the next prison, and we're gonna continue on. So thank you so much, family, for tapping in. Please hit the like button, also share. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna leave you as I always do. Remember, your potential for greatness is unlimited.